October 9th, 2024 has brought many talking points. The television adaptation of the Railway series turns 40, and the announcement of New York Central 3001 being restored to operating condition. Boy, the response was met with great enthusiasm by rail fans. So, to celebrate this anticipated restoration, here is a slot video of this Mohawk's slightly uneventful history to where it is now. The L3s were built amongst the iconic dual-service Mohawks for the New York Central. Introduced in 1940, there were 65 of these engines built at Alco Scudetti Works, with 3001 being built as an L3A. Some design changes that they had were the addition of roller bearings, a boiler pressure 250 psi, Baker valve gear, a larger firebox grate, and slightly more power output compared to previous classes. 3001, alongside the other Mohawks, were primarily assigned to either passenger or freight duties, supplementing the existing fleet of iconic Hudsons. However, by the time the 50s rolled around, dieselization was in full force on the New York Central, with 3001 being retired on Valentine's Day 1957, months before steam operations ended. Unlike many New York Central steam locomotives that were scrapped, 3001 was sold to the Texas State Fairgrounds to replace another preserved engine, which was unfortunately scrapped due to the heavy vandalism it received. The Mohawk would spend its time at the fairgrounds throughout the 60s, masquerading as a Texas and Pacific 482, being made to look like an oil burner despite the coal bunker still being intact. When the fairground closed, the engine was moved to the nearby Museum of the American Railroad, but was later traded in for a GG1, to which it was moved once again, finally settling to its new home of the National New York Central Railroad Museum in Elkhart, Indiana, where it remained to this day. Throughout the years, there have been attempts to bring 3001 back into service, but none ever came to fruition. The first being a proposed Conrail excursion program, which was cancelled due to the company only just starting out, and the flopped 21st Century Limited, which little happened with development to the point where it never even happened to begin with. Coincidentally though, both of these plans were conspired by none other than the infamous Ross Rowland. 3001 remained on static display for many years, right beside its former stomping grounds at Elkhart, watching by as today's trains were passing right by it, keeping America's economy running. Some people said the locomotive could have been restored to operating condition, while some said the engine would be better off as a static display, but look on the bright side. At least it was preserved. That was until October 7th, 2024. This was posted on the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society's Facebook account, where people began making their own assumptions. Could this mean the locomotive was being restored, or did they just find blueprints just because? Well, fast forward 2 days later, it was indeed confirmed by the organization that 3001 was potentially being restored to operating condition. And the railfan community went crazy. At the time of this recording, 3001 is not far off from getting its restoration, meaning in a few years, we might see the first New York Central steam locomotive in operating condition since 1957? Wow. It really has been that long, huh? While not much of a story, we can't deny that having 3001 in preservation is a blessing to where we are right now. And granted, she's not the only preserved New York Central Mohawk, but she is one of the very few locomotives representing the New York Central in preservation. And that's something we can't deny. And for all we know, maybe this restoration could really prove the locomotive's worth for the modern generation, and give us railfans a chance to see a New York Central steam locomotive in operating condition for the first time since the steam era. And I wish the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society the best of luck with restoring this locomotive, as I can't wait to see this thing actually come back up to steam once again. You know what they say, Mohawks will never quit.